Reaction. This is on deck with the US Navy in the Red Sea. This was just 60 minutes. Yeah, this just popped up on my recommended feed. I'm like, I have to watch this. Obviously, this is like the Houthi conflict thing. So someone from 60 minutes has physically gone to like, I'm guessing in one of the aircraft carriers. I watched like know what you think video, like, where he physically went to a thing and just like did a report on it, right? I like basically seeing things on hand like that. I've been watching British stuff a lot recently. It's obviously about all geopolitics and military and things, obviously about the conflicts and things. So it's really interesting to see like how the operations are working there. So yeah, that's what it's for. Remember, we'll flag my next one. Don't forget to subscribe so that way I know which type of videos to react to more. Check out the next one. There's a link in the description. And yeah, that's what it is.
This week on 60 Minutes, we report from the southern Red Sea. There, the U.S. Navy has been protecting commercial ships from attacks by the Houthis, a Shia militia from Yemen that's backed by Iran. For months, Houthi rebels have targeted ships that they said were tied to Israel in protest over Israel's war in Gaza. But they seem to be indiscriminately attacking vessels, many with no clear link to Israel, endangering shipping in a key trade route that links Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. For the U.S. military, it's a mission that puts the Navy at the center of the fight. On our trip, we got an up-close look at what that involves, starting with a ride on a Navy reconnaissance plane, the P-8. It's essentially a Boeing 737 converted to conduct submarine warfare and surveillance. This is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Can you imagine a 737 going from 30,000 feet to then below 500 feet just right above the water? That's what we experienced. That's why we had on personal flotation devices. They said we needed to wear them in case the plane had to land on the water, in case there was an emergency. From the P-8, we could see the types of ships the Houthis have been targeting in the southern Red Sea.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it would be so surreal. Like airline and 737 is like really common, right? Whenever somebody like 747 is like jumbo jet, is different. Like 737 is like when you go from state to state and things, probably gonna be 737, right? So seeing a 737 like flying that low, it would be like trippy, right? Panic even, right? Obviously, like you would know, but first, as soon as you look out the window, oh, what the fuck? We're just like way too down, right? And at that speed, right? How would the water even look? Like if you take speed and like you're really high up, like if things are not moving that fast, you're like even in decent speed with the 737 and that low, the water would look, like really fast. It would be insane.
Sea, and the U.S. warships sent there to protect them. One of those is the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, an aircraft carrier.
We are in a constant state of vigilance. I have people manning our combat direction center 24 hours a day. We're always ready, right? All hours of the night, we can handle whatever comes this way.
Has there been a time where you thought this aircraft carrier could come under fire?
I would say yes, it could come under fire at any point. So we're going to go to the top, up to the bridge.
Captain Christopher Hill is the commanding officer of the Ike. Like all naval aviators, he has a call sign or nickname. His is Chowda because of his New England roots.
Copy, commence turn at 1347I.
He's in charge of the ship's nearly 5,000 sailors who have been at sea since mid-October. The deployment was originally going to take them to the Mediterranean, but now their strike group is shooting down Houthi missiles and drones and attacking launch sites in Yemen, all from the Red Sea.
We had no idea what we were getting into. Our initial idea was that we were going to do kind of a normal cruise where we'd once a month hit a port call. We didn't anticipate what happened, and we certainly did not anticipate what happened here in the Red Sea.
I mean, imagine from his point of view, right? Like when was last time US Navy, at least in this way, was in conflict like that, right? Oh wait a minute, Houthis are even attacking the US Navy itself. Now we have to respond. That's a different feeling, and especially like you're in charge of like 5,000 people, like she said, right? When you're in that kind of scenarios, like especially if you haven't been in this situation in a long time, like this is the time when you realize like leaders are leaders, like how they respond, because most people would just like, what the fuck, if I would be like just like constantly panicking, like what the fuck, what to do. So I'm guessing, like he didn't have the briefing that this might happen, obviously. But obviously, people like him is like always trained to be ready because anything can happen type of way.
Serving on Ike is a high-intensity assignment. Sailors don't really get days off, and the pressure in the last few months has been high. But just about everyone we spoke with seemed invigorated by the mission, including some of the pilots.
The sailors that are in my squadron are happy to be here. They're happy to be working hard, to be doing their job on a daily basis. They have a sense of pride that we are accomplishing a mission, that we're assuring that free flow of commerce.
Commander Melanie Ollie is the only female squadron leader on the Ike.
We've seen a lot of different threats that I don't think we were expecting to see on this deployment, but when you realize that there's merchant shipping at risk, there's innocent people at risk, you step up.
We asked Captain Hill how he tries to keep morale on his ship high.
We have a philosophy on the ship called the Way of the Warrior Sailor, which it kind of says morale is the most important thing. I think it was Eisenhower when he said something to the effect of, morale is the single greatest factor in successful war, right? So we focus on morale. The question is, what is morale, right? Is it happiness? No, it's not necessarily happiness. Morale is something else. It's sort of dignity, it's pride, it's inspiration, it's motivation. These things are what we try as leaders to instill in sailors. But how do you do it? We focus on loving and valuing sailors and giving them mission and purpose. People need to feel inspired. They need to feel like they're part of something greater than themselves. Radars configured.
Yeah, morale is really important, right? We've seen that in even the Russian-Ukraine war. Morale is like everything, right? Like morale comes from like why you there, right? Your motivation is basically like, okay, what is your goal, right? What is it supposed to be? If you make everything clear, if you make the map clear, like what we do, like how we're gonna be successful, yeah, morale is going to be high, right? But in the end, it all depends on the goal. Right now, the goal is like, obviously civilian ships are getting attacked, so morale is going to be there. But in the Ukraine-Russian war, a lot of Russians might not be, like up to it. Like we when it comes to like invading Ukraine and things like that. So you see the difference. While Ukraine, obviously, that defending side, everything's at stake. So we already see the difference there.
As a leader, one thing I have to do is communicate a lot. So one of the ways we do that is through rapid, relentless, repetitive, positive communications, R3P.
And what does that do?
It's about honest talk. It's about positive talk. People need leaders to be honest with them, to tell them what the future holds, and then remind them how great they're doing. Recognize individual sailors whenever I can to keep inspiring them to do great things. And that is what builds morale. I think it's a good model for the Navy. I think it's a good model for anywhere else on the planet, in any organization.
There you go. Yeah, it's really hard to like capture like the intensity there. I'm sure like some channels like Know What You Think basically can interview somebody who's like there, right, who's been into aircraft carrier and things like that. But yeah, it's one thing to like look at history point of view. It's one thing to just see the chart sheet. It's completely another to be there, especially when everything's a surprise. Because I don't think anyone went there thinking like they're gonna be like in this kind of conflict, right? Because it hasn't happened in the past in that way, right? Houthi attacks has been there a long time, but not this way, right? Attacking ships and everything. Obviously, like Israel conflict is kind of like the building factor behind it, where Iran is like basically supplying to basically keep pressure on that, but still is causing this conflict. Imagine people there, right, who didn't prepare for this now to like do this, how to like, the leader especially, like they have to like doing the briefing and everything, explaining to them what is happening, right? Keep the motivation of what is the reasoning behind it. It's like, yeah, really important thing. A good and bad leader could change everything, basically. Doesn't matter who you are. You could have the best aircraft carrier, but the leader is bad, and he doesn't know how to do things, doesn't know how to like increase the morale or talk to his people, like nothing's gonna go well, right? Everything will fail basically at that point. Alright, well, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you next time.